Facial recognition technology is slowly encroaching its way into every aspect of our lives, but thankfully, lately, there's been a great deal of pushback to this. You may recall this that I put out 4 months ago now. San Francisco and Somerville are banning facial recognition tech, and the idea is gaining momentum. And indeed, I was correct about that. The idea is gaining momentum because we now have this just out from the Washington Post. ACLU sues FBI and DOJ over facial recognition technology, criticizing unprecedented surveillance and secrecy. So in this video, we're going to break all of this down for you, as well as the fact that you can soon use your face to pay for groceries right here in Vancouver, British Columbia. We have China completely cornering the market. They now have a new 500 megapixel super camera that can instantly recognize you in a crowd. They are miles ahead in the technology there in China, and we're kind of falling far behind here in the West. We have this facial recognition software unable to recognize trans people, university studies suggest. It's kind of a funny article, but it's actually kind of confusing and concerning as well. We'll break that down as well. And lastly, we'll look at the fact that biometric identification is really just the beginning, guys, of a much larger agenda. So we're going to break all that down for you today. But just before we do, I want to remind you that this channel is currently heavily under attack. I am being shadow banned on a massive scale. I've been completely 100% demonetized, which means I rely 100% on support to come directly from you, the viewers. And if you would like to financially support this channel, you can do so by clicking right here on the PayPal icon, where you can contribute a one-time donation. You can contribute Bitcoin or other cryptocurrencies. You can click here to join as a PFD member, or you can become a PFD patron by clicking on this banner here. Or you can use the Patreon alternative and sign up for a monthly reoccurring amount. Thank you so much to anyone who does contribute in that way. This channel is only made possible with your contributions, so thank you for that. And if you have yet to contribute, please check the links right here on the screen or in the description below to find out how you can do that. All right, so today we have this: ACLU sues FBI DOJ over facial recognition technology, criticizing unprecedented surveillance and secrecy. The American Civil Liberties Union on Thursday sued the Justice Department, the Drug Enforcement Administration, and the FBI for records detailing their use of facial recognition software, arguing that the agencies have secretly implemented a nationwide surveillance technology that threatens Americans' privacy and civil rights. ACLU attorneys asked a federal court in Massachusetts to order the agencies to release documents about how the government uses and audits the software, how officials have communicated with companies that provide the software, and what internal guidelines and safeguards regulate its use. These technologies have the potential to enable undetectable, persistent, and suspicious surveillance on an unprecedented scale, the attorneys wrote. Such surveillance would permit the government to pervasively track people's movements and associations in ways that threaten core constitutional values. And that's really the crux of the matter here, folks. The DEA and FBI said they don't comment on pending litigation. The DOJ declined to comment on this. The lawsuits mark a new chapter in growing resistance to the technology, which has quickly become a far-reaching presence in people's lives with little to no legislative approval or public debate. Federal investigators and local police agencies nationwide now routinely use facial recognition software to look for potential suspects and witnesses to crime, scanning hundreds of millions of Americans' photos, including from state driver's license databases. Facial recognition is also now used to unlock cell phones, monitor public venues, and guards the entryways of schools, workplaces, and housing complexes, scanning visitors' faces to grant them access or alert security officials. So again, this has been an incremental move, but it's really starting to pick up its pace, and things are happening very, very quickly. I know over in China, you can use your face to pay for train tickets, and they're now starting to go for things like that here in Canada. You can now use your face to pay for groceries, but privacy experts are urging caution. Yeah, no doubt. Vancouver, instead of pulling out a credit card or counting out cash to pay for his bottle of water, all Chris Renton had to do was peer into a screen. An image of his face was captured by cameras mounted on top of the screen to verify his identity in the machine known as SnapPay. Grocers during a product demonstration at the Retail West Conference in Vancouver, attended by business professionals looking to discuss consumer trends. In a real-life retail scenario, a client using their face to pay for products would see an automatic charge to their credit card or debit account. SnapPay Grocers hasn't arrived in Canadian stores yet, but Renton, who is Chief Growth Officer at SnapPay, the Toronto-based company that owns SnapPay Grocers, thinks that the convenience of the technology will have mass appeal and eventually attract retailers that want to move people in and out of stores quickly. Again, it's all going to be sold on convenience. Renton said SnapPay Grocers equipment is sourced from China, where the technology is rapidly advancing and where there's no shortage of vendors selling the technology. He declined to provide more details than that. And indeed, China is where the technology is very rapidly advancing. In fact, we have this. China's new 500 megapixel super camera can now instantly recognize you in a crowd. This is how crazy it's getting. China's already home to extensive facial recognition technology, using it to identify criminals, monitor students' attention, and even let citizens purchase train tickets. Now, in an attempt to enrich its surveillance arsenal, researchers from the country have developed a 500 megapixel facial recognition camera capable of capturing thousands of faces at a stadium in perfect detail and generate their facial data for the cloud while locating a particular target in an instant. The AI-based cloud camera service was developed in collaboration between Shanghai-based Fudan University and Chengchuan Institute of Optics, Fine Mechanics and Physics of Chinese Academics and of Science in Sichuan, according to Global Times. The super camera is also said to have the ability to shoot panoramic photos with a clear image of every single human face, something that can be put to use in extremely crowded public spots. But as the article goes on to show, there's obviously cause for great concern here. The development comes as civil liberty groups and lawmakers across the world are waking up to the woes that might come with increased facial recognition technology, not to mention rising privacy concerns in a country well known for its entrenched surveillance of its citizens. Chinese cities are already the most monitored in the world, with an estimated 200 million CCTV cameras watching over its people, a figure that's predicted to rise 213% by 2020 to 626 million. It's no secret that China has been hard at work designing a nationwide social credit system that employs a reputation-based behavioral scoring methodology to assess its 1.4 billion people and millions of businesses. Earlier this month, the government announced plans to expand the controversial practice for a corporate ranking system of over 30 million companies in the nation. The algorithmic governance system, which rewards good behavior with extra privileges and restricts those with lower scores from traveling or getting government jobs, is expected to be rolled out officially next year. In fact, I've been warning about that for years, guys. I put that out in this video over 3 years ago now. China's Sesame credit, a blueprint for the West. And yeah, now we're starting to see it. A link to that video will be located in the description below, guys. Be sure you check it out. I mentioned we're going to touch on this. It's kind of funny, kind of confusing, and kind of scary all at the same time. Facial recognition software unable to recognize trans people, university study suggests. Facial recognition software is unable to recognize trans people, university studies has suggested. The University of Colorado Boulder in the U.S. set out to investigate the accuracy of facial analysis technology with transgender people and those who classify themselves as gender non-binary. Researchers collected almost 2,500 images of faces from Instagram, which had a hashtag indicating their gender identity, including woman, men, trans woman, trans man, agender queer, non-binary. The images were then analyzed by 4 of the largest providers of facial analysis services, IBM, Amazon, Microsoft, and Califray. Califry. Researchers found that on average, the systems were most accurate with photos of cisgendered women getting their gender right 98% of the time, so recognizing when a woman is actually a woman, 98% accuracy. Cisgender men, just biological men, categorized accurately as almost 98% as well of the time being correct. However, while the facial recognition software is often accurate, the researchers found that it struggled to identify transgender people. Trans men, however, were wrongly identified as women up to 38% of the time. This is where it gets so stupid. The language that they're using is getting so confused. Trans men, however, were wrongfully identified as women. You mean correctly identified as women, because they are women. A trans man is biologically a woman. So if the system identified them as being a woman, they're not incorrect. It's not wrong. It's so confusing. I mean, this is what they've done to our language in society, where even a sentence like this, trans men, however, were wrongly identified as women. No, they were correctly identified as women, because that's what they are. Anyways, at any rate, we're clearly far behind the trend of what China is trying to push. But again, these are all incremental moves towards a much larger agenda. I explained that in this video. The iPhone Exposed biometric identification is just the beginning. The iPhone X will soon be on the market, tracking, tracing, and databasing every face it sets its bionic eye on. Facial recognition software has just entered the mainstream as Apple unveils their newest device, the iPhone X. In this video, Dan Dix of Press for Truth outlines some of the obvious and not so obvious applications and violations of privacy that this new technology can and will bring to society. This is a very important video to understand. I'm going to include a link to it at the end of this video, so be sure to watch it if you haven't seen it yet. And in fact, go to my YouTube channel, use the search feature like this right here, and just type in something like facial recognition, and do a search and see what kind of videos I've produced in the past on that topic. You'll find stuff like this, San Francisco and Somerville, that one, AI, facial recognition, and the government merge into unholy trinity of surveillance, move over facial recognition tech, they're now data mining directly from our brains. Cops are now using facial recognition tech to detect fear in real time. What could possibly go wrong? I go on to expose the iPhone, biometric identification. It goes on and on. I got a lot of videos covering this very important topic, guys. So be sure to use the search feature if you want to delve into more of this. But as it is for today, we had the ACLU suing the FBI and the DOJ over how they're using this information. I mean, we don't know who they're sharing it with. We don't know the extent to how we are being tracked. And people are just willingly giving over this information. And this is precisely why we need to continue to raise awareness about this, guys. So please click the thumbs up button and share this video with your friends and family. Let them know that, yes, it seems convenient to be able to use your face for these things, but as we've seen, there's a great deal of concern here when it comes to your privacy. I mean, the city of San Francisco banned this stuff. 5 other municipalities have actually followed suit with San Francisco. And now we have the ACLU suing the FBI and the DOJ. That should say a lot, and it really does. So once again, please click the thumbs up button, share this video if you found this information to be useful, and don't forget to check us out on pressfortruth.ca/donate, to where you can contribute to my efforts here to bring you this information. So that's all for today, guys. Once again, I want to thank you for tuning in, and stay tuned. We've got more video reports coming soon. This is Dan Dix reporting for Press for Truth. We all want truth. The truth will set you free.